Hey, how everybody? Welcome to Dedicated to Financial Literacy. It's been a few days since I've posted something, but I thought with all of the, had a little cookies and milk. Still a big kid, man. With the latest news, the tariffs, I thought I'd drop something. Just food for thought. I want to say ahead of time. I'm not an economist. Don't work for Wall Street. Just a brother on the internet, on YouTube, dropping my own research. And this is what I want to say to people. It's like, you don't need a PhD in finance to be able to explain some of this stuff. Some of it is like President Trump says, it's common sense. He came into the office, not this time, but the last time, and he looked at how we were being beat, robbed. I come from the hood. You don't let people punk you. And what President Trump is saying, I'm just explaining it in layman's terms, where people can everyday people can understand. My channel is for newbies, new investors, my friends and family. That's why I started this channel, because of COVID. We couldn't get together and talk about finances and investing. And one of my friends said, hey, what about a YouTube channel? Drop some of all this wisdom you have on a YouTube channel. I don't know if I have all that much wisdom, but I will say this. God has put it in my heart, really, to be, as well as talk about spiritual things and people having their lives right with God. Finances is really dear to me as well, and investing, and not just my community, of course, my community, but anyone that would want to listen. And so that's what's motivating me. And so if I have to get up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 1 a.m., something drops on my heart, I'm going to talk about it and get it out there. Usually what I try to do is to make sure I don't say anything that I don't know about. You know, I don't want to speculate. So one of the things I'm going to say for this particular this particular video, a lot of it is what I feel personally, in my opinion. Okay? Some of it is based on data, but a lot of what I'm going to say is just my gut feeling about what I think is going to happen. And one of the reasons why I'm saying that is because President Trump is a common sense president. And some things, you guys, you don't need to rely on data. It's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. And a lot of things of what he's doing right now for our country, it's the right thing to do. 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 All right, so let's get started. Number one, April 2nd, Liberation Day. Is what President Trump called it. He was in the Rose Garden at the White House, 4 o'clock Eastern time. He gave a speech. He brought out a chart. And on that chart, it listed what other countries have been charging us as far as tariffs. Tariffs meaning taxes and fees. And I'm sure there's some other things in there as well. China, I believe, was at 67%. We countered with 34%. So actually, if you look at the chart, and it's online, I believe you can go to the government website and see it as well. Print it out. Pray over it. No, really, I'm serious. He was a lot lenient than I thought he was going to be. But there's a lot of people that think he was too hard. Too hard? These countries have been robbing us. This is what I don't get about America. Everybody, I don't even see why we would be divided. I can understand if a 10% of the country had a problem. There's way too many people that having a problem about these tariffs. And let me tell you what the root problem is everybody's thinking about themselves instead of our children and the future of this country. So people are thinking about themselves and how it's going to affect them in the short term. Because, and let's explain what people are saying about the tariffs and how it's going to affect our country. But I want to tell you how, I'm just going to give you just food for thought. I'm not saying what I'm going to say is going to happen and it's going to happen exactly like I'm saying. I'm not coming off like a know-it-all. But I just want you to think for a minute, just common sense. Okay, the tariffs. Let's take China in particular. 67% they're charging us, right? We were probably at 2 or 3%. That's over 60% that they're charging us. Now, President Trump is countering that, saying no, reciprocal. What you do to us, we're going to do to you. That's what's reciprocal. That's what he means by reciprocal tariffs, okay? That's another point I want to make. Reciprocal. This is not just tariffs. It's not about. Think about it. If they take off their tariffs and say we're not gonna charge America any tariffs, President Trump, it's reciprocal. He removes his. He's looking for a response. He's looking for these other countries to admit, you know what, this is unfair. We're willing to drop. I guarantee you, if China comes back and say, you know what, we'll drop our tariffs to 40%. That's over 20%. You know what President Trump would probably do? I really believe this. He said, okay, you were at 34, we'll reduce ours to 5%. You're at 25, we're at 5%. Do you see the gap? 15%. Before these tariffs, there was 60% with no difference. You guys get that? 60%, we're not charging anything. He says, okay, 34% to your 67. That's about 50%. Right? That's about a 50% difference. 34. Well, 34 and 30, 35 and 35 is 70. So we're talking about 68%. 34 and 34, 68, right? They're at 67. So it's almost 50%. But if they drop theirs, say they drop it to 40%, 45%, President Trump will drop ours. He's just trying to make it fair. People have said we've had free trade, fair trade. It hasn't been fair trade. It's these countries of getting things for free. Geraldo Rivera just came back from Japan, I believe. He said there were no American vehicles on the road, none. I'm going to say that again. Geraldo Rivera, who is he's not a Trump enthusiast, he's not a Trump fan, said that he went to Japan on vacation. No American cars, not one did he see while he was there. Not one. How do you drive in a country all over the place and not see an American vehicle? Yet, they're here all the time. They're all over the place. All of their vehicles. Do you see what he's doing? So the tariffs, the reciprocal tariffs, all he's doing is saying, look, we've been getting cheated. We've been getting beat. Let me give you another statistic. This is true data. Do you know in 1990, we were number one as far as GPD? Gross domestic product. In other words, we were number one globally. We were the dominant country globally, financially, economically. Our number one export is the dollar, the currency, our dollar. Number two was Japan. I think I wrote them down here somewhere. Number three, yeah. Let me remember here. In 1990, GDP-wise, in dominance, it was number one was USA. Number two, Japan. Number three, Germany. Number four, Russia. You know who was number five? China in 1990. Fast forward 35 years. It's about 30, what's 2025 now? It's about 30. It's about 35 years. China is now number two. and edging very close to being number one. I think if the Dems get a hold of the White House in 2028, they will be the superpower by that next following years. By 2032, they will be the superpower. Because what would happen if once President Trump is out of office, if a Democrat replaces him, they're going to reverse everything that we're doing. I'm pleading to God that that doesn't happen. America, do not let that happen. Do not let that happen. That's why everybody's talking about a third term. I don't know if that's good for the country and what precedents it was set, because at one point the Democrats could be over there for 3 terms. So I just wish there was a way that we could solidify and lock in these policies. Not the policies that don't work, that are not good. Time will tell. Get rid of those. But the ones that are truly working, keep them in place. And don't allow the next regime or the next administration to change it. That's part of our problem in America. And I am not pushing socialism. I am not pushing communism. I'm not saying that. But it does say something when you have a plan and a vision, and you can actually keep that vision and plan in place for years to come, 15, 20 years. We change plans, economic plans, social plans. We change it every single 4 years, depending on who's in office. Killing babies. 4 years of allowing and pushing killing babies, and then 4 years of not. I'm talking about the abortion issue. Yes, it's murder. It's murder. Nobody's coming against women's rights. We want women to have rights. What other thing can you name where a woman's rights is being violated? Only in the defense of an innocent baby. You never hear Donald Trump talk about coming against the rights of women. He only is trying to defend a baby that can't talk for themselves. Come on, mothers, women, wake up. Man. Wisconsin, that's horrible what just happened. And don't blame Elon Musk. The exit poll says differently. The exit poll said differently. Elon Musk did not lose that because he threw money at that election. That's not why they lost. It was the abortion issue. Women came out in groves. They're afraid that this man is going to take their rights, which is not true. And I wish the Republican Party and the conservatives would be more like, they need to explain they need to explain their stance on that much better, because you have women scared, thinking that their rights are going to be violated. So they ran out and voted to preserve killing babies. My God. What is wrong with us? Anyway, let me get back to what I'm supposed to be talking about. The tariffs. The tariffs. He's trying to make America wealthy again. Now let me tell you how it's going to affect us. This is how it'll affect us. And my next video I'm going to do, tune in. I'm going to talk about 7 stocks that Donald Trump is investing in. 7 stocks that I think you might want to look at. The 7th one, I'm not sure. But 6 out of the 7 are bad during this season, you know? So, anyway. Let's look at this logically and with common sense. Donald Trump, because some people are asking, a lot of people are concerned that these tariffs, now these other countries are going to retaliate. Of course they are. They haven't been paying anything. they would be foolish not to respond. But here's what he's saying, because people think he doesn't care that prices go up. He doesn't care that the automobile prices go up. All these things go up. He knows this is going to happen temporarily. Here's what I predict will happen. Many of these countries do not want tariffs at all because their economy is worse than what they're publicizing. Think about this for a second. China's very secretive. And I think, look at the face of Prime Minister Ford of Canada. Look at his face in the MSNBC interview that he did with Andrew Sorkin. Just Google it and look at his face. The man looks petrified, scared out of his wits. And he actually said, I'll take all the tariffs off. If Trump will take the tariffs off, I'll take them off. Wait a minute, he wasn't saying that about a week ago as they were huffing and puffing over there in Canada. We don't put up with this, we're Canada. Oh. They're not saying that now. April 2nd, they're not saying that. I think it's working. Israel just said they're taking off all their tariffs. Thank you, Benjamin Netanyahu. You're a great man. See, he's already getting a response. Day one. In fact, Canada was willing to take off their tariffs before he even had the speech in the Rose Garden. I think there's a lot of countries that's going to shock America. How many countries are going to come back and want to go back to the negotiating table? And I think that's what he's been trying to do. I really don't think he wants to tariff everybody forever. I think he's just saying, look, let's go back to the bargaining table, to the bargaining chip. And let's redo a better deal that helps America as well. You guys, you got to understand, we as an America, we have been, one guy put it, we've been everybody's daddy. What do fathers do? A good father supports their children, takes care of their children, watches out for their children, feeds their children. We've been feeding, protecting so many countries. Now we're looking at how we've been devastated. Over 38 trillion dollars of debt. And no one wants to help us now? In fact, instead of helping us, they're trying to get rid of us. BRICS. People want to know, what is BRICS? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. What people don't understand about BRICS, they're trying to get together and create their own currency. It's called the BRICS Digital. BRICS Digital. Google it. But what people don't understand about BRICS, they think it's just those five countries. Brazil. I'm going to give you the names again. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Those 5 countries are coming together. But what people don't realize, when Biden did what he did, wait a minute. People forgot Biden sanctioned Russia when they entered Ukraine. And who did they sanction? Oligarchs, the rich. When other countries saw that America had access to freeze accounts like that and do what they did, they panicked. They said, oh my God, we can't allow this. We got to come together. So there are more countries that have come under the BRICS. It's just not publicized because they don't want that exposure and draw attention that the United States may come and penalize them in some kind of way. We are still a very powerful country. We're still the number 1 country in the world, the number 1 superpower. So they're doing it. It's like Nick at night. Nicodemus in the Bible, John chapter 3. He came to Jesus at night. He snuck to see Jesus because he didn't want the heat. That's what a lot of these countries are doing. They're sneaking behind America's back to China and Russia, and they're forming something. our demise. And the silly Americans, I'm sorry, I hate to, we're being silly. The reason why we don't want we're saying these tariffs are too much is the heat that we might get. And you know what we're lacking? We're lacking what President Trump has, you guys. And it's called courage. It's called backbone. And there needs to be more men speaking up right now. And I say that not to come against women. I'm saying that because when men don't speak and when men don't speak up, our society has proven to weaken. And it's never been good. And I think God is trying to change that. He's trying to change it. I'm not talking about us competing with women. I'm not talking about competing with other genders and all that. I'm talking about just speaking up, being willing to stand up for what is right. What President Trump is doing, he's standing up for what is right. And men, I'm speaking to the men now. Get on board. Stop being a punk, worried about these other countries that has robbed us and robbed our families. Their tariffs have robbed your family. I'm going to say that again. The tariffs, 67% from China, a tariff, is robbing your family currently. Because the jobs aren't here. So what is President Trump doing? What is he doing? He's forcing these countries to say, okay, let's go back to the bargaining table. Let's make this thing a little bit fair. It's still not fair. The tariffs that Trump is doing, the reciprocal, if it was, you know what would be fair? If he tariffed China 67%, just like they're giving us 67%. That's what would be fair. It's still not fair. And we got Americans crying, it's too much. You weak. We got to get some backbone, America, and get behind our president. CNN they need to shut CNN down. They need to shut The View down. All these anti-Trump, anti-American establishments, legacy media. I'm sorry. We need to shut this stuff down. You don't see this happening in China. You don't see it happening in Russia. Let one of their media people get out of control. They disappear. We see them 6 months later, they're quiet. I'm not for torture. I'm not talking about torturing people. But what I'm saying is, we are way too disrespectful towards our authority here in America. Way too disrespectful. Yes, it's free speech. You can disagree. But we got people burning up a man's business, his cars, his dealerships. What in the world? Throw the book at him. 20 years is too little. Elon Musk is really, and I'm going to say something about Doge. Let me say something about Doge. Doge is not just about efficiency for our government, for the federal government. You know what I'm finding out now? I really believe this was from God. Doge is not only exposing the fraud and inefficiency and where we are wasting money with our federal government, and mind you, I've been paying taxes since I was 14. Somebody said, what, 14? Yeah, not 16, 14. 14, I worked at a park called the CETA program. It was a government program that paid us to clean the parks, kept many of us in the inner city in LA out of trouble. Reagan snatched the program in the name of government efficiency and saving money. So that's why I'm like, some things you need to keep in place. But I'm all for government efficiency. That's what Doge has been about. That's what Elon Musk has been about. They've been very transparent. All of everything they do is out in the open. They're more transparent than anything, any entity that's out there right now. And but you know why? Here's where the left and the Dems are making a big mistake. I really believe this. Because I'm asking myself as a taxpayer, wait a minute. They've been wasting my money, throwing my money away, sending my money to an offshore, another country for nothing, to do nothing, for somebody to stare at the sun and give them $10 million for staring at the sun. And I'm being facetious and being silly, but I'm just saying the kind of things that they've been exposing. Don't you understand me? We as Americans are watching this, listening to this, reading this, and we've been paying taxes all these years. I'm 60 years old. I've been paying taxes since the early 80s, late 70s. How do you think that makes me feel, knowing that our government has been doing this kind of stuff with our money, with our taxes? So we got people opposing Elon Musk. We got them opposing him. What? This is going to don't you realize this is going to turn me away even more from the Democratic Party? Instead of you saying, you know what, we need Elon, what he's doing is a great thing. We may not agree with his politics because he's for Trump, but this is what the government needed. But you guys won't even say that. You won't even acknowledge the fact that this is a good thing for our government. And then they want to give the Doge dividend. I don't hear anybody on the left talking about the Doge dividend, encouraging it. If we save money, give us some of the money back that you stole, because you really stole our money. If you took our money that we gave to the government and you did something frivolous and unfruitful and bad and evil with our money, you stole from the American public. You stole from me. You stole from my family. You stole from us. A $5,000 Doge dividend check is nothing compared to how much you've stolen. I've been working for already 40 years. How much have you stolen? How much of my money have you sent to another foreign country for nothing that didn't help anyone? Huh? USAID, AID? Be careful, Democrats, what you're supporting right now, what you're coming against. I'm going on 28 minutes. This is way too long. I'm going to do another video. I'm getting off of here. Support President Trump.